Welcome back to A View to a Grill. I'm Johnny. Today I'm going to take these prime ribeyes, put this amazing crust on them, and I'm going to do it all on the Golden's cast iron Kamado. It's early in the morning and the first thing we're going to do is dry brine our prime ribeyes. Today I have two beautiful prime ribeyes from the R Ranch. If you would like some of these R Ranch prime ribeyes for yourself, check out the link below. Take a look at this one. It's 1.5 inches thick and it weighs 1.6 pounds. Now let's get that out of the package so we can take a look at what we're working with. Wow. What a beautiful ribeye. Look at all of that internal marbling. And here's the other one. It's a little smaller, but it still has all of that internal marbling as well. In order to dry brine our ribeyes, we're going to need a little kosher salt. I'll just sprinkle that on quite liberally, making sure we get all sides of the prime ribeye. And if you're wondering what kind of coverage I got, well, it looks like this. And now I'll get that into the refrigerator for at least 6 to 8 hours. While our ribeyes are dry brining in the refrigerator, let's go ahead and set up the Golden's cast iron Kamado. As you can see, I have some used lump charcoal already in the Kamado. We're going to need to clean that up. I'll just move it back and forth a little to knock off some of the old ash. And then I'll grab the divider plate and turn it 180 degrees. And now all I have to do is vacuum out the bottom of the Kamado. Once I vacuum that out, I can turn it 180 degrees again and then vacuum out the other side of the fire pot. And when I was done, I had some good reusable charcoal for this cook. Now, I feel like most of the time when you see people firing up their Kamado, they usually just throw their fire starter right on the charcoal. But I like to use my Weber chimney starter. Now, in case you're curious, throughout the video, you're going to see these two wires sticking out. And that's just for my baked potatoes. Our charcoal in the chimney starter is ashing over, so that's my cue to get the lit charcoal into the Kamado. I'll make sure that the bottom vent is wide open, and I'm going to use my little whisk broom to sweep off any ash that may have gotten on my grill grates. Now I'll get my cast iron grill grates in so they can preheat, and then close the lid and make sure that the top vent is wide open as well. So it's only actually 429, right? Because I got to give those potatoes a good head start. Now that the Golden's cast iron is set up, let's prepare our prime ribeyes. Now these ribeyes have been sitting in the refrigerator, dry brining now for 7-8 hours, and take a look at them now. All the salt has dissolved and the exterior is nice and dry. I will be doing some light trimming on my ribeye. For instance, this spot right here on the spinalis, and maybe a little bit right here towards the bottom of the ribeye. And then on the other steak, this large chunk of fat, I'm going to reduce that by at least half. Now I'll just get all of that trimmed up and set to the side. It's now 6:29, so the potatoes have been going for a good 2 hours. To help me maintain the shape of my ribeyes, I am going to tie them up. I'm just going to use some butcher's twine and then wrap them twice, and then use a surgeon's knot to keep everything nice and snug. The tension on the ribeye is really light. And then I'll just finish it off with a square knot. For my seasoning today, I'll be using the Snake River Farms signature steak seasoning. When I'm applying this rub, I'm going to put on as much seasoning that will naturally stick to the steak. And sometimes I'll even pat it in as I go. And when I was done, I had two beautifully seasoned steaks that look like this. Now that our steaks are seasoned, let's go ahead and set up our cook. To help me manage my cook today, I'm going to be using the Meat Stick 4X. I already have my app open, so I'm going to touch Setup Cook. Next, I'll touch Grill. Then I'll touch Beef. And then I'll touch steak. Then I'll change the doneness from medium to medium rare, and you can see the temperature adjustment. Then we'll go ahead and touch next. The meat stick will then create our cook. Now we're instructed to insert the thermometer, and that's where we are right here. Now I can get the probe fully inserted all the way to the black portion of the thermometer. And now the thermometer is in, So we're all ready to go. Now I have this silent mode alert. I'm okay with that. And then you can immediately see the temperature drop, and that's because we inserted the thermometer and it's nice and cool in the steak. Now that we've used the meat stick 4X to set up our cook, it's time to get these prime ribeyes on. And now I'll use a towel to wipe up any debris that might be on the grill grates. Get a rack down and then place my steaks right on top of that. And now we close the lid to let these steaks cook. Today I'm going for medium rare, so I'm gonna let this get all the way to 80 degrees before I start my searing process. So here we are at 81 degrees. Now we can open the lid and see what we got. For my hot side, I'm gonna go ahead and wipe up anything that's on the grill, because anything that's burnt on the grill tastes bitter. Now I'll spray it with a fresh coat of avocado oil. Now we can start searing our steak. We'll get both on the hot side of the grill. I let these go for 1.5 minutes. Been about 1.5 minutes, and let's take a look at our steak. You can see that the sear is coming along nicely. One thing I'm going to do is rotate the steak by 1/4, and I'm also going to move the steak in front to the back and the steak in back to the front. Now I'll give these steaks another 1.5 minutes. 1.5 minutes later, let's take a look at what we got, and check this out. Look at the sear on that steak. You can see the exterior bubbling. It's practically frying itself on those hot cast iron grates. And then on this side, we're going to repeat the exact same process that we just went through. Now we're still monitoring the cook, so we're at 112 degrees of internal temperature, and if you can, try and sear the edges a little as well. Now we can get our lid closed, and as you can see, we're at 122 degrees of internal temperature. We're going for medium rare, which means our target temperature is 135 degrees. So I'm going to pull these off at 125 degrees to allow the carryover temperature to get us to 135. Now we can go ahead and remove our ribeyes, put them on a rack so they can rest. Now 1.5 minutes later, we reached 130 degrees of internal temperature, and the meat stick gave us an early temperature warning. And then 3 minutes later, we reached our target temperature of 135 degrees. I didn't immediately cut into my steak, and you can see here that the maximum temperature that we reached was 136 degrees. Now I'm all set up to cut, so I'm going to pull the thermometer out, and then you can see the temperature immediately drop. I'll get the string off and then cut right down the center of the steak. And then here it is, the reveal. Check out what we accomplished. So I'm pretty satisfied with the way the steak looks. I think it looks delicious. And now, as always, the favorite part of my video is the taste test. And heck yeah, this RR Ranch prime ribeye is amazing. Now the part you didn't see was that I also grilled up some corn and also had a hot potato. Now if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, why not? You should have already subscribed to my channel. You made it this far. Thank you for watching A View to a Grill. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, y'all.